Welcome to Here to Initiate, a podcast for manifestors, leaning on the concept of human design. We manifestors are 9% of the population, here to initiate, and it is time for us to rise. In this podcast, I, your host, Julia, want to bring a missing link to the marketplace. Having been a mentor and coach since 2018 and learning more and more about being a manifestor myself, I now, with this podcast, want to specifically support manifestors. With my brand Luxury Goddess, which is all about female remembrance, embodiment, and empowerment, I have served thousands of women already, and I now want to specifically support manifestors as well. I invite you to fully step into your peaceful, powerful self as a manifestor. Let's become who we came here to be, shall we? Hello, and happy welcome back to a new episode here on Here to Initiate, a podcast for manifestors in the concept of human design. I am over the moon excited to get you this episode because I really tuned into, is this true? Do I want to continue? Especially being a manifestor myself, initiating things just because I feel the clarity, not waiting on people's response, not going after what people, how successful something is, but rather really feeling into, is this true with my emotional clarity, as that is my authority? Is this true to me? Do I want to do it? Is there clarity? Is there a yes? And also feeling into urges and just really, the clarity in I want to inform, I want to initiate, and there's no expectations for you to do anything, right? And so, after having done this pause, this break here, I definitely feel clear. I've been feeling this for maybe 2 weeks and consistently. So every day for 2 weeks now felt like, oof, I really want to share this in the Manifestor podcast. Oof. Oh my gosh, let me speak on relationships. Let me speak on relating as a manifestor. Let me speak on interactions. Let me speak on the peace piece even more. And what peace really means in the depth of us and how we're really thriving for peace. And then also just so many more pieces, so many more. So I just want to give that consistency to you and also to me. And because I just love clarity and that we can rely on something. It's just this beautiful safety and clarity of a container. And so anything I give to me really needs this kind of clarity and the clarity of a safe space, a safe container. So I want to definitely give you a bi-weekly podcast. So every other week on Sunday, you can expect a new episode. Just because, I really feel this we need to continue. I do feel that the more we strengthen the manifestor in human design, we have the clarity of the ones initiating a new paradigm and having that beautiful ripple effect on all the other energy types that we do give, because we do have that great impact. And I actually want to start there today. As again, I have so many topics and I'm really happy to go into all the things. And if you have something specific you want, let me know. If from anyone I take feedback, it's going to be you. It's going to be another manifestor. I'd love to be informed by you as well, what you like. And so I can go there. So we're going to talk about impact first. Another thing I wanted to say, and then we're going into the topic, is there is a beautiful podcast by another manifestor. I don't know if I've mentioned in the other episodes. I really don't remember. But it's the Manifestor Community by Molly. I forgot the second name, but there is a beautiful podcast. So when I started my podcast, I just really didn't know, and I did my research, but I did not find that podcast. So when I say, this is one of the only ones, just because that I thought was true. I love, when we're more people, to me, there's no competition, it doesn't exist in my field because there's urges, there's things coming through, there's ideas, there's clarity. And when you feel clear as a manifestor, do you want to do something? You cannot be in competition to anyone because we're all contributing. We're all just really empowering each other and bringing each other home. So I just wanted to express that. Like, if you're looking for more resources, definitely go to her Instagram and her podcast. So I just looked it up again on Instagram. You can find her, the Manifestor Community, and the podcast is called Hunting for Purpose. Okay, so you want to check that out. If you want to check that out, this is the direct handle. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's not all about the manifestor, but it's all going to be about just feminine force and empowerment and unveiling her story and reality. So you can follow me on @JuliaSpiritualLiving. All right, so let's dive into this piece today of impact. So what's most important, at least what I found being a manifestor, which again, I'm always going to go from my perspective. My profile, again, if you forgot or you don't know yet, is 3-5. And that means I go by my experience. I go by trial and error. I dive into adventures. And so I teach from my experience. And the 5 line in the back is kind of like the hero, is kind of like the guidance. People project onto me, but I also, they seek solutions. And so naturally I teach from my experience. I lead from what I learned. And so the 3-5, that's the profile. That's who I am here. And so that's what I think is also special about this podcast, that you're going to learn from the 3-5 manifestor, emotional manifestor, right angle cross of rulership, really here to lead and initiate, like literally. And so here we go. So the biggest thing I've understood and learned, and most of this too recently, is that we impact people just by being. Not even when you start informing, when you start speaking, when you start being bold or brave or, whatever may trigger people. Not only then do you impact people, but already when you come into the room, you're most likely to be the one, just by their presence, who inspires or triggers someone, who intimidates someone, who makes them feel uncomfortable, they kind of feel you. They either love you right away and they're like, oh my gosh, I love your energy. Or they're like, there's something about you. It doesn't make me feel good. And so what we have to remember then is that we have this closed, repelling aura that is meant to be this way, because only this way in the concept of human design can the 9% of humanity that are the manifestors be in their own field at all times, have that protected closed aura to always just feel themselves, to not need anyone else, to literally sit in their hole or sit in their, whatever in their field, and come up in clarity with, the ideas that come through and the intuition that hits them, all the things depending on the authority, but also the motor center. So for me, that's the emotional. It's never the sacral, right? That makes them a manifestor, that they don't have the sacral, that we don't have the sacral. That makes us a manifestor, that we don't have the sacral, but we do have the defined throat. We can also focus on that another episode. And one of the motors, right? And so that makes us the manifestor. But coming back to our aura, because we are the only ones of those 9% in humanity, one of kind of like 9 or 10 people in a room, those 1 out of 10 people in the room that are a manifestor kind of make the others feel that way because of that aura. Because everyone else has like an inviting aura, like an open aura, all those different kind of energy feels. But we have the closed aura, the repelling one. So always, just by that, when we enter the room, people are going to be like, oof, I feel that energy, but I also can't reach it. Like it's literally a closed field. I can't come through. They immediately kind of feel left out. They feel rejected. They feel like they can't touch you. Can't touch you. You know? And kind of like you could be on a pedestal, or you think you are, whatever they, however they are in responsibility or not, and self-responsibility or not. So already by you coming into the room, you don't have to say anything. You could literally try to, be liked by everyone. You cannot change your aura. You cannot. And so we have to own. We have to own that is the energy we bring to a space always. So instead of feeling bad for ourselves and being like, why can't I be a generator or whatever, we can say, cool, right? Chose this thing on a soul level. Let's do this. This is fucking wild. Let's do this. And let me own that I'm a queen, that people just are either inspired or triggered by me, whatever it may be. Let me own that. I have a big energy when I enter in the room. It's just who I am. Like literally, in archetypal language, you are that queen when you enter. People recognize that queen. It could be they make you the villain, the bad witch, whatever, but you have that power around you, that powerful energy. And so owning that when you come into a room, owning that when you go to the airport and you kind of feel like it's reflected back to you, right? Owning that, knowing that is your auric field. Even just that. Now add a 5 line, right? If you have a 5 line, add that. And you even more so have the energy of the leadership, the hero, the one people seek guidance from and immediately are drawn to for solutions. Just add that and you have more projections. Even more, owning that this is who you chose to be, owning that, getting comfortable in your nervous system, regulating yourself towards, I am who I am. If people don't like me, it's nothing to do with me. Only if I'm truly being mean. Then let me work on my communication, right? Let me be kind. Let me be kind. But if I know I'm kind, let me not be the people pleaser, right? I did an episode on that regarding the good girl syndrome, because that's truly something we need to work on. Especially I did and I do. So, sharing from my experience there as well. And then the next layer of this is when we do inform. To make sure, because oftentimes we feel like, I let people know, I invite people, I want to spend time with people. Of course I want to spend time with you. But because we have that auric field, people immediately kind of are also like reactivated in their patterns of like, oh no, does she like me? Does she want to spend time with me? She hasn't asked. Like, I'm not sure. So it's really good for us to let people know, I do want to spend time with you, or I'd love to connect deeper. Just to inform people about that so that they know whatever else they sense because of your aura, you let them know. Like, whatever you feel though, like I want to spend time with you, or I'm open for a conversation, right? That's one thing. And then also if you don't, to be like, hey, like, I appreciate you as a person, but, I actually don't want to spend time. I love, spending most of my time with myself. So it's nothing personal, right? It's just who I am. So just letting you know, just informing you, I'm not interested in a friendship. But the more it's appreciative, the more it's, it's just who I am, I appreciate you. You're right. You're great. Just, who I am. I just love being alone. I literally just have the best time with me. And it's true. We do not need other people, especially if you don't have a 4 line. And if you have a 1, a 2, or 3 in the front of your design, in your profile, you have the interpersonal, I think transpersonal. Well, I forget because I'm not a human design expert, but like the design where you don't actually need someone to be with you all the time, or with just, you don't need to be with people all the time. And especially as a manifestor, you need your space. And it can be just your field amongst people. But, it also helps to just be alone. So when we then open our mouth, and that's really what this piece is about, this second or third piece now, when we open our mouth, then we even more so impact people, right? Because we use our defined throat to inform. And so we impact even more. And again, you could say whatever you say. You could say, guys, I'm going to the bathroom, just letting you know, I'm leaving the party early. I am tired. Bye, everyone. Whatever you inform, and it just maybe the most neutral thing you might feel like, it's still going to impact people because it's you with your auric field. So even if you say, bye, I'm leaving the party early. Bye, everyone. Which is very natural for our manifestor to simply just leave when their time's done. Because again, we have our own timeline. We need to go into a rest phase when we do. We just got to honor that we're quick in coming and leaving and wanting to be there and not wanting to be there. Like, that's just who we are. We got to own that. So we got to get used to wanting to leave and daring to say, I'm done. Bye, everyone. But in the most, loving and kind of respectful way, right? But like making sure we don't feel like we got to be patient when really on our own timeline. And again, it could be this limiting belief of, I have to be patient. No, you're on your own timeline. Learn to communicate that in advance, when planning and in the moment, so it's kind, but people they just know you. They kind of get like a user manual from you for you. That's kind of how I feel about us as manifestors. We have to give people user manuals for us because we're just weird. We're different. And that's great. But we, it's just 9% of this humanity is just very, very different because we're the only ones who don't need to wait for anyone's invitation or anything to respond to. We are the only ones that are the ones who just initiate, who just go. And so that is different. Like literally 9% are this way, and 1 in 10. So in your surrounding, you might be the only one, like in your street, you might be the only one. And so you're the only one that is weird in this way, right? When you're being true to yourself, this is how you are. And you're wanting to relate differently, and you do act differently, and you're not wanting to be told things by others. It's not how you operate. So you got to let people know. You just really got to give people a user manual of you, honestly. But that's not the topic, but we got to go there. So back to impact. When we think of this party where you say, guys, this was amazing. I feel like leaving. I'm leaving. Love you all. Bye. In this moment, everyone could be like, sure, right, good night. Or, oh, you're really leaving? No, blah, 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 whatever. Anyway, you leave. In this moment, you're taking that aura that was just still on the party, in the field, in the energy space, very much present because it's like a big thing, your aura. And then you take it with you out of the room, and it feels so different, especially when there's no other manifestor left. And so the space will feel very different. So that again will impact the space. You leaving will impact the space. And so, just to give you these different examples, which I just did in the episode, is really to understand you do impact people always. You might just think you're leaving. You might just think I'm just in the room. I didn't even say anything. But it's first and foremost your auric field, your repelling closed aura that you take with yourself into the room, and that does impact the room right away. And especially in the collective wounding of the suppressed feminine and the suppressed woman, which, the feminine is in all beings, but especially the woman, because also we manifestors know this, obviously, right? The good girl, the people pleaser. But because that is one of the biggest themes for us women, when the manifestor comes into the space, even though you might still be people pleasing or feeling the good girl syndrome, even though you might still be, but still by coming in the space like you do and having the aura you do, people put the role towards you. Oof, she's a free woman. She's confident. She's owning herself. She's big energy. But whoa, like that's not how I learned a woman should be or can be, or, I can't be this way, so I feel triggered. So again, understanding, even though you perceive yourself to be differently because you know how your nervous system still works and that you're still feeling people pleasing and all the things, they might project onto you because of your auric field. So that is something that we have to know. Because then quickly we can feel like, why? Like, I feel like the victim. They're making me the villain, but I feel like the victim because it's not true. And it's, again, letting people know, when they talk to you about it, no. Like, no, I'm not, I don't think I'm above you. No, it's just who I am, like the way I am. But, I still like practice daring, being bold or speaking up in all moments. It's still a challenge for me to inform in every moment because my heart still pounds sometimes when I have to say, no, I don't want to meet up, or no, I don't want to give my time or spend my time. But people don't even think that. They don't even assume that because of the aura, because of the defined throat and the way we do speak up about things, or even just when we inform, it's so powerful that they automatically assume like we could never be the people pleaser. But, because they're not in a manifestor, so they don't know how it feels. So that is super important to understand, right? So to wrap it up, the auric field, you already come in with that. So that impacts people right away. Then anytime you do inform, just by you speaking up, it's like, whoa, that throat, that defined throat, the manifestor, the way they speak, it does something to you. Whatever you say, even if you say, this soup tastes bad, this soup tastes good, I'm going to the toilet, I'm leaving the party, it doesn't matter. And then the more, you do speak up and you come into the room and you leave the room and you enter again, all those things, you withdraw the aura, you bring the aura, so it changes the space and people might understand why, because, they understand it's you and it's your energy, or they might not, but they'll still be impacted by you. So that's something that we have to understand. And yeah, just wanted to let you know of that today and made you think. So let's think about that. Let's deepen that. Let's feel into that. It also goes hand in hand with one of the episodes. I don't know which one. I don't remember, but I think it could be the one about initiating by informing. That it's not about the expectation that something big will happen and people will be like, thank you, I celebrate you, thank you, thank you, thank you. But rather, in the moment that you inform, you initiate it and it's done. That's it. It's not about what's going to come after that. That's not why we're doing it. If we do it out of a certain reason, to get feedback, to get much feedback, all those things, the ego is in place. And there we want to look at if we have a defined or undefined ego. So any one of you who has the ego authority, obviously you have it defined. But everyone else who doesn't have it defined, like me, like an emotional manifestor, you want to look at where do I still really crave the validation of people, and want to feel loved and, want to have that feedback. And that's why I'm informing and again. Or that's why I'm stopping to inform because I'm not getting the feedback. And to not go into kind of like the trauma bond with the feedback you get as a manifestor, but to definitely, absolutely, stop kind of like that codependency with validation pieces or the feedback that you get. But really go into really use your authority for that and go into, if it's clear, I'm doing it, or I'm saying it, or I'm being it. And it does not matter what people say. They can hate it, they can love it. That's not why we're doing it. We're doing it because we're being clear. And when we're clear, we inform. And by that, we initiate. And then it's done. It's done. Then you continue doing it if you feel it's right, or you stop doing it if you feel it's complete. That's it. It's very clean. It's very unexcited. It's like, it's so clear. And it really is that. We're not here to like do the whole project until the end if we don't feel it. It's about the initiation, about the beginning, about the informing, about the letting people know, about the starting something because it feels true. And going about that thing or being that or expressing that or whatever it may be until it feels done or until it feels complete. That's it. That's it. And to wrap it up, how do we feel things? without alignment. Peace, 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 peace. I feel at peace continuing. I feel at peace stopping. I feel at peace breaking up. I feel at peace completing. I feel at peace deepening. I feel at peace restructuring. I feel at peace with, the clarity that comes in with whatever authority you have after the urge hit me. I feel at peace. That's how we go about things. That's how we know. And actually, as an emotional authority, if you are an emotional authority as well as I am, it does help me a lot to, with the peace thing, because the emotional authority to me, actually, it feels peaceful. It's not like, yeah or no. It's like, yes, that's true, because it feels peaceful in my body. It feels calm. I feel regulated. Peace. And also that goes into deepening what peace means to you. But, we can go into that another episode. We're going to go into all the things. I really, really, really want to connect with you deeper on this. And I realized too that if we have this podcast, which we will, so having this podcast and deepening these conversations, these monologues more than anything, but still, I know they're reaching you. So I know where I'm having an impact on you maybe. And this will have a ripple. And, maybe we really can work together, because, we can, but just imagine, 10 or 20 of us in a room, in a space that I'm opening, a very safe space for us women, all manifestors. How powerful to experience ourselves amongst each other, to remember, to deepen, to give each other all the valuable experience that we made, to be in relationship with people, to love being in relationship with people, to love relating to ourselves, to being nice to ourselves, to feeling peaceful. Let's do that. Let's open up kind of like a mastermind or something. So I definitely want to do that too in the future. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. I wasn't as on point as I usually am, but I really wanted to, I just wanted to speak to you today and really be like, I'm back. We're back. Let's talk more. And by the way, this I wanted to tell you and this I wanted to share. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, to reconnect after this break of, I think, 2 months maybe. And I'll get to you a new episode bi-weekly now. Definitely, for sure. Let me know if there's topics that you want me to speak on, because I'd love to, again, get your clarity too, and maybe an experience that you made. And so let me know, please, please, please. And I'll definitely go into the topics of relating with yourself, relating with others, relationship. I'd really like to deepen as a manifestor, and how to be feminine in a relationship when you're the one kind of initiating and forming, right? So that's a cool topic, especially if you want the polarity of the man being the masculine, you're wanting to go into your feminine. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about a manifestor in business. Let's talk about peace even more. How do we feel that peace? How do we achieve it? And also let me know too about that. Just give me feedback on that on Instagram at Drew Spiritual Living. How do you feel peaceful? When do you feel at peace? How do you know? Yeah, please share with me. I'd love to connect on that. And any wishes that you have, any desires, that we can address in this podcast. So thank you for you. I appreciate you so much. I know how it is to be a manifestor, and I celebrate you for having chosen this journey as a soul and still being here with me on earth, and finding out how this can be just a fun and feminine and joyful and pleasureful and powerful experience. So yay, be so proud. And I'm looking forward to everything that's to come. Catch you next time. Bye-bye. This was today's episode for you as a manifestor in the concept of human design. I hope this episode and whole podcast serves you. And if it does, I invite you to leave a 5-star review on iTunes, or rank the podcast 5 stars on whatever platform you listened, and or subscribe, comment, or share, whatever feels right to you, so we can spread this for all manifestors to hear and rise as one. Thank you from one manifestor to another. I deeply appreciate you rising, and I look forward to catch you next time. Always remember, you are here to feel peaceful. You are here to initiate.
Remember to always inform peacefully. You are so powerful. I see you. You've got this. From one manifestor to another, yours, Julia.